Picture this for a second. You walk into a room. Not a single word. Not a single gesture. And yet, the entire room falls silent. Eyes turn. Conversations stop dead. This isn't arrogance. This isn't fake charisma. This is pure power. The kind of power that doesn't need to explain itself. It simply imposes itself. Now ask yourself this question. Why do some men command respect without opening their mouths, while others beg to be heard? 48 hours ago, I witnessed a senior executive, tailored suit, expensive watch, apologizing for 25 minutes straight to a subordinate who openly despised him. 25 minutes. For nothing. For a misunderstanding he didn't even create. What if I told you that you're not weak by nature, but conditioned to be weak? That everything, school, parents, media, society, has programmed you to be predictable, controllable, replaceable. 500 years ago, one man tore through the veil. He didn't write pleasant rules to please the weak. He wrote the raw laws of power. His name, Niccolo Machiavelli, known in the streets as Machiavelli. Today, I'm going to transmit 8 forbidden laws to you. Not sweet self-help advice that makes you feel good for 48 hours, but psychological weapons that transform an ordinary man into a force of nature. Warning, once you know them, you will no longer tolerate disrespect. You will no longer accept mediocrity. You will never be the same again. If you're ready to break your invisible chains, type in the comments, I will never be controlled again. Let's begin, now. Law number 1, destroy the inner slave inside you. 2 men are fighting to the death every single day. 1 apologizes when someone steps on his feet. The other locks eyes and makes the other person back down without a word. 1 explains his value hoping someone will recognize it. The other never justifies anything because his existence is enough. 1 tolerates disrespect out of fear of confrontation. The other cuts access immediately, without emotion, without explanation. Which one wins? The one you feed every day through your actions, your thoughts, your compromises. Your inner slave was forged from childhood through relentless conditioning. Be nice. Translation. Be exploitable, don't make waves. Translation. Stay controllable. Explain yourself. Translation. Justify your existence. Give another chance. Translation. Accept betrayal. Result. You tolerate the intolerable. You explain your worth to people who don't care. You beg for respect instead of demanding it through your mere presence. Machiavelli wrote it clearly. He who does not control himself will always be the slave of another. This means that if you don't control your emotions, your reactions, your boundaries, someone else will. And that person will use that control to manipulate you, exploit you, drain your vital energy. The signs of the inner slaveth. Inner slave manifests in specific behaviors you'll recognize immediately. Compulsive over-explanation. You spend 30 minutes defending your intentions. When criticism provides apology, you start sentences with sorry even when you've done nothing wrong. Tolerance of contempt. You laugh nervously when insulted instead of maintaining eye contact. Automatic forgiveness. You reintegrate those who betray you, as if nothing happened. Surgical transformation. Transformation isn't brutal, it's surgical. You don't become invincible overnight, but you can start the metamorphosis today with one simple question. Golden rule. In every interaction, ask yourself, who's speaking, the slave or the master? This question will become your daily examination of conscience. It will force you to observe your patterns, your conditioned reflexes, your automatic weaknesses. Concrete examples. Situation 1. Someone interrupts you. Slave. It's okay with a nervous smile. Message sent. You can disrespect me without consequence. The master stops speaking, stares at the person for 3 seconds, then resumes exactly where he left off, slower, lower, with more weight. Message sent. Try that again, and I'll humiliate you with my calm. Situation 2. open disrespect. Slave explains why this behavior hurts him, hoping the other will understand and apologize. Result: the other notes mentally that you're sensitive and exploitable. The master smiles slightly, notes mentally who just revealed themselves, says nothing, but access to his time, energy, and attention just decreased by 70%. If the behavior repeats, access permanently cut. No drama, no explanation, just glacial silence and unbridgeable distance. Situation 3. Unjust demand for apologize. Slave complies immediately to calm the situation and keep the peace. But peace obtained through submission isn't peace. It's temporary servitude. The master simply responds, "For what exactly?" Then waits. The silence following this question forces the other to justify their demand. Often, they realize they have no rational basis. The simple question reverses the power dynamic. The 7-day exercise that kills the slave. If you want to accelerate your transformation, here's a strict protocol for the next 7 days. Day 1 to 7. The 3 absolute zero apologies. For what's not your fault. If someone accuses you unjustly, you no longer say sorry. You say, "I disagree with that perception," or simply nothing at all. 0 explanations to those who haven't earned them. Before explaining your decision, ask yourself, has this person earned the right to understand my motivations? If the answer is no, your only response becomes, "I've made my decision." 0 second chances to those who've already betrayed. This is the hardest, but it's also the most liberating. Someone betrays you once. They've just shown you who they really are. Believe them. Don't rationalize. Don't look for excuses for them. Cut access forever. Critical observation. During these 7 days, keep a journal. Note each time the inner slave wants to speak. Note what it wants to say. Then note what the master would do instead. Over time, the master will take more and more space. After 7 days, you won't recognize your reflection. Your eyes will have changed. Your posture too. People around you will sense something different without being able to name it. Affirmation to shout in the comments. My slave dies. My master is born. Law number 2. Forge the impregnable mind. Your current brain, an emotional minefield. A harmless criticism gives. You ruminate for 3 days. A professional failure gives. You question your entire worth. A romantic betrayal gives. You fall into a 6-month spiral. Your mind reacts as if it's constantly under attack. Why? Because you've been taught to take everything personally. You've been told that your emotions are your identity. That feeling intensely proves you're authentic. This is a toxic lie. The impregnable mind operates on completely different logic. A criticism equals data about the other person's jealousy, insecurity, or ignorance. Not about you. A failure equals test of your current strategy, not your intrinsic worth. A betrayal equals confirmation of something you already knew deep down. Not a surprise, just a revelation. The Machiavellian principle of anticipation. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man acts in the present to shape the future, but always prepares for the worst." People who emotionally collapse have one thing in common. They live in the illusion that the world should be fair, that people should be loyal, that goodness should be rewarded. The man with an impregnable mind has killed these illusions. He knows that people will act in their interest, even if it destroys you. Loyalty is rare and conditional justice only exists if you have the power to impose. If this vision isn't pessimistic, it's strategic realism. And this realism makes you impervious to emotional shocks because you no longer expect the impossible. The 3-step method to armor your mind. Step 1. Expect the worst, not from pessimism, but from preparation. Before every important interaction, take 60 seconds to visualize the worst possible scenario. This meeting, imagine being publicly humiliated. This relationship, imagine being betrayed tomorrow. This project, imagine it failing completely. Now ask yourself, if this happens, do I survive? The answer is always yes. And this certainty removes 80% of the power that situation had over you. Step 2. Transform emotion into information. Very intense emotion contains a strategic message, but most people never decode it because they're too busy being overwhelmed. Here's the decoder. Anger gives what boundary was just crossed. Was I clear about this boundary? If yes, why did the other person test it anyway? Fear gives what skill am I missing to face this situation? Where can I acquire this skill in the next 30 days? Emotional pain gives who just revealed their true nature. What does this revelation teach me about my discernment? Jealousy gives what part of my life am I neglecting? Where do I need to invest more energy? By transforming emotion into strategic questions, you deactivate its ability to paralyze you. Step 3. The 6-second pause, instant psychological victory. Here's the secret that negotiation masters and military leaders know. Whoever controls their first reaction controls the outcome of the interaction. The rule: when something provokes you emotionally, count mentally to 6 before responding. During these 6 seconds, your amygdala emotional center calms by 40%. Your prefrontal cortex center of reason regains control. The other person starts worrying about your silence. This micropause creates an invisible power. Asymmetry. The other has revealed their game, the provocation. You remain opaque, and in that opacity lies your advantage. True story. Betrayal transformed into empyrean entrepreneur I know. Let's call him Mark. Had built a tech startup with his best friend from college. 3 years of relentless work, sleepless nights, personal sacrifices. One day, Mark discovers that his partner secretly sold company shares to a competitor, pocketing €100,000 without telling him. Total betrayal. Most people would have exploded. Public lawsuit, revenge, mutual destruction. Mark did something different. He applied the 3 steps. He expected the worst. Reflecting, he realized he'd ignored warning signs. His partner had stolen ideas from 2 other people in the past. Mark had rationalized. It was different. We're friends. He transformed emotion. His initial rage became a question. What does this betrayal teach me? About my naivety? Where do I misplace my trust? He waited. Instead of reacting immediately, he took 72 hours to plan. Result: Mark calmly left the company. Taking the real talent with him, the technical team followed him, not the partner. He launched a competitor in secret. 6 months later, his ex-partner's company was bankrupt, sabotaged by his own incompetence. Mark bought the assets for a fraction of the price. Today, Mark runs a company valued at €15 million, and he says, "That betrayal was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to become ruthless." The impregnable mind doesn't seek emotional revenge. It wins strategically. Affirmation to hammer in. My mind is a fortress. Nothing reaches me. Law number 3. Master the power of silence. Man who talks too much begs to be heard. The man who remains silent forces people to listen. There's a fascinating statistic few people know. In any social or professional group, the 10% most influential speak 30% less than average. Why? Because they've understood a fundamental psychological secret. The human brain automatically fills the void of silence with importance. When you talk constantly, you dilute your message. When you speak rarely, every word carries exponential weight. Machiavelli summarized it. The lion doesn't need to roar to be feared. Its mere presence suffices. The fatal error: confusing communication with noise. Modern society is obsessed with communication. Express yourself. Make yourself heard. Share your opinion. Result: a cacophony where nobody truly listens because everyone's screaming to exist. You want to stand out. Shut up. Not from shyness, not from fear, but from calculated strategy. Silence creates several power dynamics simultaneously. It generates mystery. People don't know what you're thinking, so they project intelligence, depth, potential danger onto you. It forces the other to reveal themselves in prolonged silence. The other person feels an irrepressible need to fill it. They talk. They reveal their insecurities, intentions, weaknesses. You collect data. It communicates self-mastery. Who cannot bear silence is governed by his anxiety. He who settles into it comfortably demonstrates control of his internal state. It amplifies your rare intervention. You finally speak. After a long silence, everyone instinctively falls quiet to listen. You've just created invisible authority. The 3 strategic silences to master silence. Type 1. Observational silence when provoked. Someone throws an insulting remark, hoping to see you react emotionally. Slave's reaction: immediate response, defense, justification. Counterattack: master's reaction: fixed stare, not a word, slight smile perhaps, then returns to what he was doing. What happens in the provocateur's mind? Panic. Why isn't he reacting? Is he preparing something? Did I just make a mistake? Silence in the face of provocation is the psychological equivalent of checkmate. The other sinks into their own ridiculousness while you remain clean. Silence. Type 2. Refusal silence facing demands for explanation. Explain yourself. Why did you do that? I want to understand. Slave's reaction: immediately complies, giving 45 minutes of detailed explanations. Master's reaction: direct eye contact, complete silence, or simply no, not no because, just no. Explanation after refusal dilutes the refusal. Refusal without explanation is absolute. This silence says, I don't have to justify myself to you. My authority doesn't negotiate with your demands. Silence. Type 3. Power silence during important interactions in a meeting. Negotiation. Debate. Instead of speaking 50% of the time like everyone else, you speak 20% of the time. But when you speak, you do it slowly. You do it with a lower voice. You make 2 to 3-second pauses. In the middle of your sentence, these pauses create tension. The audience unconsciously leans forward, captivated. You've just hijacked collective attention. Real social experiment. A friend, owner of a communications agency, applied this law in a weekly meeting. Context: a colleague publicly challenged him in front of the CEO, falsely accusing him of sabotaging a project. False and malicious accusation. Everyone expected the explosion. The passionate defense. The clash. My friend did something different. He leaned back in his chair, smiled slightly, nodded as if understanding something. Obvious said nothing. After 15 seconds of silence, he turned to the CEO and said, "Shall we continue?" The colleague panicked. He tried to restart. "Aren't you even going to defend yourself?" Response: "No." Then silence. Result: the next day, the CEO called my friend privately. "You're the only one in this company who doesn't get emotional. I want you on Project X, promotion and raise." The accusing colleague fired 3 months later for relationship problems. Silence had won the war without firing a single shot. The 30-day golden rule for the next 30 days. Apply the 50% rule. Speak 50% less than usual. Literally. In a 10-minute conversation, only speak for 3 to 4 minutes before each intervention. Ask yourself, is this necessary or am I just filling the void? Count your words. Cut everything superfluous. You'll see the magic happen. People will start to listen to you more attentively. Be flaffle. Ask for your opinion instinctively. Respect you. Final affirmation: my silence is stronger than their screams. Law number 4. Transform betrayal into fuel. Here's a truth nobody will tell you. People will disappoint you. It's mathematical. Your best friend will choose money over your friendship. Your partner will choose comfort over adventure with you. Your family will choose conformity over your dream. Your colleagues will choose their career over your well-being. It's inevitable. It's predictable. It's raw human nature. The weak man cries about this reality. He asks, why me? For months. He wastes time seeking justice in a world that doesn't operate on that principle. The unstoppable man doesn't cry. He collects data. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are fickle, selfish, deceitful, and unpredictable. He who relies on their word without preparation runs to his ruin." He wasn't saying this from cynicism. He said it from scientific observation of thousands of historical cases, where blind trust had destroyed empires. The psychology of betrayal, what they never tell you. Here's what you must understand. People don't betray you because you did something wrong. They betray you because the opportunity was stronger than loyalty. This means betrayal isn't personal. It's contextual. If someone betrays you for 10,000 euros, it's not that you're worth less than 10,000 euros. It's that for that person, at that precise moment, money was more important than the bond with you. Important information, not emotional drama. This perspective changes everything. Instead of collapsing asking what didn't I do, you ask, what does this action reveal about this person's value system? The 4 steps of alchemy, transforming pain into domination. Step 1. Accept reality, no fairy tales. Stop looking for excuses for people who hurt you. He was going through a difficult time. She didn't know what she was doing. It was a misunderstanding. No, adults are responsible for their actions. Period. By looking for excuses for them, you deprive yourself of the essential lesson. This person made a choice. That choice reveals who they really are. Believe actions, never words. Step 2. Extract the lesson. Who are they really? Every betrayal is a free scan of someone's personality. Ask yourself these questions. What signals had I ignored before? What did this person reveal about their real priorities? Where did I place my trust too quickly? What pattern is repeating in my life? For example, if you realize 3 different partners betrayed you similarly, the problem isn't I'm unlucky. The problem is I have a blind spot in my selection. This realization is painful but liberating. It gives you the power to change the pattern. Step 3. Cut or control, immediate distance or strategic patience. You have 2 options facing betrayal. Option A. Surgical cut. You remove this person from your life. Completely, permanently. No dramatic goodbye message. No vengeful explanation. Just absolute and permanent silence. This option is appropriate when the person has no strategic utility. They violated a fundamental value they represent. Recurring toxicity. Option B. Glacial control. You keep this person at controlled distance, knowing exactly who they are. You never trust them again, but you maintain a functional facade. This option is appropriate when the person influences your career. They are part of a network you need. Cutting them immediately would create more problems than solutions. Machiavellian master keeps enemies close, not from love, but to monitor them. Step 4. Use the pain. Every betrayal equals plus 10% determination. Here's the secret warriors understand. Emotional pain is unrefined fuel. Most people let this fuel consume them. They become bitter, cynical, closed. The unstoppable man refines this fuel and uses it to propel his ambitions. How? Each time someone betrays you, you tell yourself, you just created a monster. In 2 years, you'll see what I've become thanks to you. Then you channel that rage into 2 extra hours of gym per week, a new business project learning, a skill that will make you indispensable, a network that will make you influential. From firing to empire. Coach I know, let's call him David, worked for a renowned mentor. David gave everything for 3 years, creating content, managing social media, organizing events. Miserable salary, but promises of when the business grows, you'll be rewarded. One day, David discovers his mentor just hired someone else for a management position, with the salary David had been asking for months. No explanation, no excuse. Worse, 2 weeks later, the mentor fires him by text message. We're going in another direction. Thanks for your work. 3 years. Fired by text. David could have collapsed. Many would have. Instead, he applied the first steps. Acceptance. My mentor was never my friend. It was an unbalanced transactional relationship. Extraction. I learned everything I could. Now I know how to build a coaching business from A to Z. I know all his strategic mistakes. Cut. Total silence. No public anger. No social media drama. Just a clean disappearance. Fuel. David took that rage, that humiliation, and transformed it into obsession. He created his own coaching method in 90 days. He used everything he'd learned to do better. Result? Today, 2 years later, David has a business generating €40,000 per month. His former mentor, he's stagnating at €15,000 per month and losing clients. The cherry on top. The ex-mentor recently contacted David to ask for advice on how to develop his business. David replied politely, "My consultation rate is €2,000 per hour." The betrayal had created a superior competitor. Affirmation to engrave in your mind. Every betrayal is my fuel. Law number 5. Suffocate critics. With excellence, weak man responds to criticism with words. The strong man responds with results. There's a fundamental asymmetry in the world. Criticizing is free. Creating costs everything. Anyone can spend 5 minutes demolishing what you spent 5 years building. Critics are abundant because they require neither talent, nor courage, nor sacrifice. Machiavelli wrote, "Complaint does not conquer fortune. Excellence does." This means you can spend your life defending yourself against verbal attacks, or you can spend your life building something so impressive that criticism becomes ridiculous background noise. Why responding to criticism is a strategic error. When you respond to criticism, you create 4 problems simultaneously. Problem 1, you validate the critic. B, giving them your attention, you confirm they have the power to reach you. You give them importance. In psychological warfare, attention is currency. By responding, you just paid your enemy. Problem 2, you fuel the debate. Your response generates a counter-response. That a counter-response. You're now caught in an infinite cycle of justification that drains your creative energy. Problem 3, you reveal your insecurities. Who defends himself aggressively shows where he doubts himself. Manipulators note these flaws and exploit them later. Problem 4, you waste precious time while you're writing a defense paragraph on social media. Your competitor is building. While you're arguing, your rival is advancing. The time you spend justifying yourself is time stolen from your ascension. The 3 golden rules of productive indifference. 1. Never respond to unsolicited criticism. Someone criticizes you on social media. Ignore. Someone questions your project. Continue. Someone predicts your failure. Note the name and prove them wrong in silence. The only exception, if the criticism comes from someone who pays you, or who has verifiable expertise in your field. In that case, you listen to extract useful data, not to defend yourself. Rule 2. Invest 100% of your energy in results. Rhetoric. Every ounce of energy you would have wasted on justifications toward tangible improvement. Instead of writing a 2,000-word Facebook post to defend yourself, use those 45 minutes to learn a new skill. Call a potential client. Improve your product. Train your body. Meditate to strengthen your mental state. Every minute invested in defense is a minute lost in construction. Rule 3. Let your successes speak. Nothing, absolutely nothing, shuts critics' mouths like blazing success. A contract signed with a prestigious client. A sculpted body that attracts all eyes. A business that rocks and generates 6-figure revenue. A published book that influences thousands. A mastered skill that makes you irreplaceable. And you achieve these results, you no longer need to defend your worth. It becomes self-evident. Shattering example, the silence that roars. An entrepreneur I know, marketing agency owner, was publicly mocked by his former colleagues when he left his stable job. The criticism flew, "You won't last 6 months, you'll come crawling back for a job. This is pure arrogance. You have no business management experience." This man could have responded. He could have argued. He could have listed his qualifications. Instead, he did something radical. He closed all his social media accounts for 12 months. Total blackout. During that year, he worked 14 hours a day without distraction, acquired his first 10 clients through relentless prospecting, reinvested every euro into growth, learned digital marketing obsessively. He built automated systems. After 12 months, he reopened his accounts. First post, a photo of him in front of his former employer's office, which he had just bought. His former colleagues, they now worked for him at salaries he set. No words could have had this impact. The result said everything. Affirmation to repeat every morning. I silence critics with my results. Law number 6. Sculpt your reputation as a weapon. First 7 seconds decide everything. Your reputation precedes you in every room you enter. It arrives before your words. It influences how people treat you before you've even opened your mouth. And here's the brutal truth. You may not control what people think of you, but you absolutely control what they feel in your presence. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. All can see, few can touch the truth." Translation: people base 80% of their judgment on what they perceive visually and energetically, not on who you really are. Is this unfair? Perhaps. Is this reality? Absolutely. So you have 2 options. Cry about this injustice or transform it into a strategic advantage. The 5 pillars of magnetic reputation. Pillar 1. Posture. Your physical architecture. Your body communicates before your words. Common errors: shoulders rolled forward equals unconscious submission, fleeting gaze equals masked insecurity, hands in pockets equals defensive closure, fast nervous walk equals visible anxiety, head tilted forward equals lack of confidence. If conqueror's posture, straight back, as if an invisible thread pulled your skull toward the sky, chin parallel to ground, never lowered except to read, shoulders back naturally, not forced, fixed, direct gaze. You only look away when you decide. Slow, deliberate walk, as if each step had purpose. Visible, calm hands, economical movements. This posture sends a subliminal signal. I have nothing to prove. I have no one to fear. I'm in my place. Pillar 2. Energy. Your invisible presence beyond the physical. There's something more subtle: the energy you emanate. Have you ever noticed how some people fill a room just by entering? It's not magic. It's psychological. Components of dominant energy. Entry: timing. Never enter a room apologizing or hurrying. Arrive with intention. Pause for 1 second on the threshold. This micro-pause makes people instinctively look up. Be visual, scan and centered. Sweep the room with your gaze for 2 to 3 seconds. Don't look for anyone in particular. Simply observe the space. This communicates, I'm taking possession of this environment. See absence of reactivity. When someone greets you loudly, don't jump. Turn calmly. Smile slightly. Respond composedly. Your calm contrasts with their excitement, creating an invisible hierarchy. Pillar 3. Mystery. What you don't reveal. Mystery creates magnetic attraction. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. What to strategically hide. Your current struggles. Never complain publicly. Your ongoing projects. Only talk about them when completed. Your private life. Intimate details. Stay intimate. Your deep emotions. Show them to 2 to 3 people. Maximum. Your true ambitions. Jealous people. Sabotage. What to strategically show. Your concrete results. Your visible discipline or calm under pressure. Your selective generosity. Your excellence in your field. Pillar 4. Consistency. Your strategic predictability. Here's a fascinating paradox. You must be emotionally unpredictable but hyper-predictable in your standards. Emotionally unpredictable. People never know how you'll react to provocation. Sometimes you laugh, sometimes you ignore, sometimes you stare in silence. This variability keeps them on edge. Predictable in your standards. If you say you'll do something, you do it. If you set a boundary, it's uncrossable. If you give your word, it's reinforced concrete. This combination creates a fascinating psychological profile. I never know how he'll react, but I know he'll always do what he says. Result: respect mixed with caution. The perfect equation. Pillar 5. Actions you're living. Proof in the end. Your reputation rests on one criterion. Do you do what you say? Each promise kept equals +1 credibility point. Each broken promise equals -10 credibility points. Calculation is asymmetric. It takes 10 wins to erase one failure of word. The 3 rules of strategic integrity. Underpromise. Over-deliver if you can deliver in 5 days. Promise 7 days and deliver in 4. The positive surprise effect marks minds. Never promise what you don't control 100% if the result depends on an external variable. A third party. Weather, luck, don't promise it. Say, I'll do my best instead of I guarantee. If you fail, assume immediately. No excuses. No justifications. I failed. Here's how I'll correct it. This brutal honesty preserves your reputation better than 1,000 protective lies. Practical exercise. The first impression test. There's an exercise that will reveal uncomfortable truths about your current presence. Materials needed. Your phone, a trusted friend, 30 minutes. Protocol. Film your entry. Ask your friend to film you entering different rooms. Cafe, office, living room. 5 different entries. Watch without sound. View the videos with sound off. Only observe your body language. Ask yourself these ruthless questions. Do I look confident or nervous? Does my walk command respect or seek sympathy? Does my gaze sweep the space or flee toward the ground? Are my shoulders open or closed? Do I give the impression of apologizing for existing? Identify 3 immediate corrections based on what you see. Choose 3 elements to correct this week. Not 10, just 3. Repeat the test in 30 days. Film yourself again. Compare. The difference will be spectacular if you've applied the corrections every day. Affirmation to anchor deeply. My reputation is my shield. My presence is my sword. Law number 7. Make excellence a religion. Excellence isn't a peak. It's an invisible habit. Machiavelli. Fortune smiles upon the disciplined. The 7 daily rituals. 1. Wake at 5 a.m. even when exhausted. The first hours decide the day. No phone before 6:30 a.m. 2. Daily sport even without time. 30 minutes. 6 days, week. Alternating strength and cardio. 3. Hard task first even if you procrastinate. Do the dreaded task before 9 a.m. Your willpower is at its peak. 4. Promises kept even if uncomfortable. I'll call you tomorrow gives call tomorrow. Your word equals reinforced concrete. 5. Reading 30-minute even if Netflix calls. 30 minutes, day equals 50 books. Year equals top 5% in 3 years. 6. Meditation 10-minute even if your mind screams. Attention training. Ability to stay calm in chaos. 7. Evening review even when exhausted. 3 questions. Where did I weaken? Where did I dominate? What's my priority tomorrow? Result in 90 days. Visibly athletic. Bottle laser concentration pull. Ask what changed. Unshakable inner peace. Warning. The first 21 days equals hell. Your brain will rebel. Never negotiate with your inner slave. Affirmation. Excellence is my religion. Discipline is my worship. Law number 8. Become unstoppable. Unstoppable man depends on no one. Machiavelli. He who conquers himself is the greatest of warriors. The 5 pillars of unstoppability. 1. Emotional self-sufficiency. Physical fasting exercise. 14 days minimizing all non-essential interaction. Discover that you survive and thrive alone. 2. Financial self-sufficiency. 3 minimum income sources. primary, secondary, passive. 3. Strategic self-sufficiency plans A. B. C for every critical domain. You always have an exit. 4. Physical self-sufficiency body, functional strength, cardio endurance, mobility, under 15% body fat. 5. Mental self-sufficiency progress stress exposure uncomfortable situations weekly. Daily Stoic journal negative visualization imagine the worst. Plan survival the final test someone betrays you. You smile you anticipated it cut access immediately redirect energy toward your goals continue. Without interruption at this stage, you're above. Affirmation. I am unstoppable.